Pershing's Bill Ackman, a massive investor, obviously, for anyone who knows him, sounding alarms in the economy, which he believes has begun to decelerate on the back of aggressive rate hikes. According to a CNBC article here, the Fed is probably done, Bill says. I think the economy is starting to slow. You think, Bill? CNBC Squawk Box, the level of interest rates is high enough to slow things down. You think? Of all the videos we've just done and the things that are going around, if you're paying attention to all what's going on, 4.8% on the 10-year Treasury, the largest, they're the highest it's been since 2007, before the Great Financial Crisis, and we all know what happened there. And had to then be the QE, the currency printing had to be turned on like rapid fire, like gangbusters, to try to get us out of that somehow. We have massive problems. We have small business bankruptcies, more economic news, rising at the worst pace since the pandemic, again, because of rising yield, because of rising interest rates. The bond market cratering. No one wants to buy U.S. Treasuries. Who in the world would want to buy an unproductive country's debt? Why? You're enslaving the population, right? So that's a good thing from an adversary. You want to enslave that population and buy their bonds so that they have to be taxed in the future, which is wonderful. That's a great move. But they're unproductive. So what's going to happen? Are you going to actually get paid back? Or are they just going to default? Are they just going to go to war with you? That's the game you're playing. So we have another huge distress signal. No soft landing for many entrepreneurs, right? Where's PPP? Are they getting bailed out again? Are they getting bailed out? What's going on here? So many small business bankruptcies already happening this year, and tighter lender standings too, obviously, not just higher interest rates, but tighter lending standards and higher operating costs. And honestly, people probably not going out quite as much. We can say all we want about the economic data, but how good is economic data at this point? We live in an absolute clown world where we can't even get the right economic data. The government gives us such garbage data, like the CPI. It's the CP lie, as Mike Maloney says, right? If you actually did the 1980 way we looked at CPI and actually measured inflation, it'd be like 15% right now. But yet the government is telling us it's like 5% or somewhere around there. Are you kidding me? It's 3 times. It's 3 times more. Probably from most standards, it's 3 times more than what the government's actually telling you. 3 times more inflation. So higher costs, and again, people not coming out. Tighter lending standards, higher interest rates, and higher costs. And again, people probably not coming out quite as much, especially in this time period when people are struggling. People are struggling everywhere. You have massive credit card delinquencies, massive credit cards usage going on. We have the housing market really at a standstill. There's so many things that are going on that are impacting the bankruptcies of what's going, or like the small business bankruptcies, I should say. And this is why Bill Ackman is saying this and seeing what's going on the back of, I'm just waiting for more countries to collapse, to be quite honest. I'm looking at developing world, developing countries. We could probably go look and see, look at balance sheets of countries around the world and probably start to predict the next 5 countries to fail. We saw Sri Lanka last year, obviously the president's palace being overrun. You thought that unrest was crazy? Well, you haven't seen anything yet. You have not seen anything yet. That is coming to a city near you. It's coming to a country near you. It's coming to your doorstep. It's coming to our doorsteps. How about another one? Student loan bills resume for 40 million Americans. How about this? How it could shake the economy. Well, thanks, CNBC. What do you think? We are in a really big S show right now. $1.7 trillion in federal student loan debt. I saw a meme, by the way, which I is coming as well. Which 10, 12 years ago I said they will not make us pay for education, for college. And we're dang close. Obama, before he left, said they were trying to give 2 years of community college away, stuff like that. Here's technically a way where they're saying you don't have to pay for college. Take out student loans. You don't have to pay for it. And if this actually comes into fruition, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the economy? But I saw a meme from the liquidity email, which is a great email. I've talked about that many times here. It's a great email. I don't like all the things they have in there necessarily, but I get a good kind of overview in the morning of the market. And it was like a meme of someone from I don't know if it was Boiler Room or what the meme was, or I can't remember, but it was just hear me out. Collateralized student loan obligations. It's just, everything's such a distraction theater and everything's such a clown world. But again, if you aren't privy to what's actually happening, if you aren't paying attention to what's actually happening, if you aren't locked into what's actually happening, if you aren't studying the frameworks. By the way, I have a book that I'm writing, and I have the outline for it. I have many books I'm writing. We just got done with our 3 ABCs for Bitcoin's books. There's ABCs, EFGs, XYZs for your kids, for your toddlers. Those should be coming out in the next few months. Hopefully, maybe a quarter one next year. Those are like done. I'm just editing them now and just looking at those, getting the artwork done for those, and writing a book about the frameworks. And I was just telling my wife the other day, I was just like, hey, I'm no expert, I'm no genius, but I'm someone who has studied these things for 20 years and generally been fairly right with a lot of these things, and have the, I don't know what the right word is, but it's just I have the knowledge, or portfolio, things like that to back it up. And it's unfortunately in this world, I can't stand talking about my successes. I can't stand talking about the things I've done in life. And unfortunately, in this world, you have to have, you have to talk about this in order for people to take you seriously, which is good in a sense, right? Because you have to, I don't want to take advice from someone who's, for working out, who's 400 pounds. I don't want to take advice on financial matters of someone who's, $200,000 in debt. You got to be careful, right? You got to trust but verify. So, writing something about the frameworks, it emanates from my children. I want my children to have a massive head start in life, and I want them to understand this is how you look at the world, through these lenses. These are the lenses you have to have. Like, you have to have, if you want to understand what's happening in global politics and geopolitics and things of that nature, and like why the governments are doing the things they're doing, you need to put on your communist, Marxist lenses. And once you do that, it becomes really easy. Like, you can start to really easily see, like, wow, this is like really, really simple to figure out. I can know exactly where we're going. I know exactly what to do. And that's what I want these frameworks to be. It's going to be many layers of these frameworks that kind of come together, and probably doodles and drawings, and so you can see very simple frameworks visually of, hey, this is how you look at things, and emanating from thermodynamics, natural law, first principles, things of that nature, and God's principles. I'm someone who has strong faith as a staunch believer, lover of Christ, and a Catholic. There's certain principles that have guided me. That's what the Bible is to me at the end of the day, really, when you put it in human terms, if you can do that. It's saying, God saying, hey, this is the optimal way to live. This is the way to live. You don't have to. I gave you free will. I gave you free will. I know who you are. I created you. I gave you free will. But this is the optimal way to live. I'm telling you right now, if you want a life that's easiest, listen for my calling, listen to what I'm telling you, and heed that advice, and follow this outline here laid out in the Bible, and it's going to give you the easiest life. None of our lives are easy, and they're all, they all end the same way. But I can show you the best path possible. And many of us, this goes back to the accepting truth, denying truth, or submitting to truth. We can accept or deny that truth, but we can submit to it. We can live our lives around that framework to create the most optimal situation for us. So anyway, that's something I will be doing here going forward in the future, is these books, to live by these frameworks, because anyone who's living by these frameworks of truth and honesty and trying to get as close to that as possible, these things are very clear. It's very evident to see what's going on. And this is why I've been talking about for literally 15 years, because I could see what's coming down the road, because of those frameworks, that, oh, we need to get prepared. Oh boy, we need to get prepared. And I need to get home. I need to get my family prepared. We need to get food, energy, water, security, everything dialed in. We need to get some Bitcoins, gold, a little bit of gold and silver. We need to get meeting our local sheriff, meet our local rancher, our local farmer, build those community, build the people around us digitally. That's something that I've done a decent job of, probably the worst job at that, and I've been doing that over the last couple of years, and just on and off for the last 12 years, but now finally doing the digital side and finding groups of people that can collaborate. Because the more we do this, the more we all band together digitally, people all around the world, the faster change comes, the faster we come back to truth and honesty and accountability and merit. So I appreciate you. Please share this out. In the name of that, please share this out. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The algorithm hates truth. That's why we need to share these things out, because I want the least amount of collateral damage as possible. I want the least amount of us to get hurt, the least amount of our family to get hurt, and I know you do too. So please trust, but verify what I'm saying. Question everything in boldness, even the existence of God himself. And this is not financial advice. It is freedom advice. Let's get prepared. I'll see you on the next one.